Okay.
Unfortunately, in the last 10 years, China has changed on Qi-Gong, and it's not as easy to have all those experiences done because the government of China is very rigid around Qi-Gong. So it's not the same thing as it was before.
Okay.
So we're getting to have much better Qi-Gong sometimes outside of China.
Well, I have to say we are very lucky to have you, Collette, in our region here in the townships. I know you've been in Montreal for practicing. You're also an acupuncturist.
Yes.
Right? And you've also given courses in Qi-Gong. How many years total would you say you all together?
Well, I've been acupuncturist, now it's going to be almost 29, 30 years. And when I started acupuncture, I started to practice Qigong for myself, doing it in groups. So I've been doing Qigong for the last 30 years, but not teaching it for the last 30 years. I've been teaching it, I would say, for the last 8 years, about. And I've learned many types of Qi-Gong.
Okay.
That's why in my classes there's a part where it's lying down, there's a part where it's sitting Qi-Gong, and there's a part where it's standing Qi-Gong.
Okay. Well, I think it's great. We're very lucky to have you. I know your clients really appreciate you as an acupuncturist.
Thank you.
Many, many years of wonderful experience and knowledge. You work with herbs as well. And definitely we're going to have you on the show to just talk about acupuncture.
It will be a pleasure.
At this moment, I would just like to take the opportunity to just tell you, you're listening to The Alternatives. You have choices on CIDI 99.1 FM, radio communautaire of Eastern Townships. And I'd like to continue with Collette, talking about Qi-Gong. Just curious, is it hard to learn? Is it something that you need to take many courses to learn this, or can you master it fairly quickly?
There's a progression. If people start with the first step, well, of course, it's quite easy. But what is difficult for most people is because sometimes the movement are different from what they have done before. So it's like, learning something new. But it's a bit like Tai Chi. There too, it takes time. What is difficult for most people is that they expect to be able to do it as fast as the one in front of them. And if they can stay with their own experience, and that's important, to go at one's own rhythm, then it's another feeling altogether.
So the idea of being in a group is a good thing because you accumulate chi, but then we have the tendency to be a bit competitive where we want to, I want to do it just like her or him, or be like the teacher. And so it's always a question of coming back inside and saying, what is it? What is it for me? Where's my truth right here, right now? What is my limitations, and what do I need to work on? Right?
Exactly. Because when we do the exercise, we start noticing, this is funny. I'm not feeling the area of my left hip or on my knees. So we discover areas of our body that are tense, and it's not the idea of forcing those tense places. It's more being conscious of those places.
That's
and
right.
all of a sudden it starts changing, moving, and then all of a sudden just different sensations that are starting to come in. People will start feeling first the body, then they start feeling, hey, there's like a little heat going on, then I feel something around my body. It's strange, what is this? And then there's all different aspects of experience, and just it's a non-ending process, because the capacity to feel is endless.
Yes. And I think that's what we need to gear towards, is to be able to feel more of what's happening. We have a lot of things in our life that help us get away from our bodies and away from, keeping us in our mind and thinking and organizing and being in the future and not being in the actual present moment. So all of these yoga, Tai Chi, Qi-Gong, all of these alternative practices are wonderful ways of keeping us in our body and being more attuned, correct?
Absolutely.
With our body.
All of those practices have the same objective, to be in the here and now. And it is one of the most difficult things to do for most people. So we need this more and more as we go on to be able to be grounded here, because when we feel in the body, that's going to help us to feel into the emotions. That's going to help us to see that our mind is always going at a very fast pace, but we can take a distance from even our thoughts. We can take a distance from even our emotions. So it's grounding us and helping us to deal with life, which is very important.
Yeah, and that's one of my goals here on the show, is to present all these alternative practices and therapies to help people to be closer to themselves, to their body, to listen. We've come so far away from our intuition, our instincts, our basic instincts. I remember when I was in my early teens and having these big decisions to make and having this gut feeling in my belly and ignoring it. And then looking back and saying, wow, if I had listened to my gut instinct,
absolutely,
I would have made a better decision. Now, you can't be living in the past and always regretting, but my point here is to be more aware of our body, because our body talks to us. We're just ignoring it half the time.
And to have people come back to their bodies is one of the most important things, because we are in our heads. We're not even in our emotions. We're in our heads. And we tend to analyze and explain everything.
That's
While
right.
coming back to the body is going to be soothing, calming. It's almost like a respite. It's like a place where, I can find a peace of mind, because the body is a peaceful place.
Yes. I know some people have experienced a lot of pain in their body as they're living this human experience. And I think that's perhaps one of the reasons why they want to get away from their body, because there's been so much discomfort. So we have a tendency to want to just run away from those sensations. But I believe it's the gateway, when we experience what's happening on our body without putting any judgments like this is pain, this is suffering, just experiencing it, and amazingly it just goes away with time, depending on what the physical sensation is.
You're so right. There's an experience of body work where when we are doing a stretching exercise, instead of forcing the hands, like I say, to touch the feet, we are more going into the legs, feeling different muscles, and then, starting to feel this muscle is tense, going deeply into the tenseness of the muscle. And then just feeling that the tenseness is not that bad. It's just what I make of it with my mind.
Beautiful.
Am I scared? If I'm scared, the tenseness gets more, or I tense other parts of my body. So it's starting to feel my back gets tense, my stomach gets tense, my breath is cut out because I'm scared. Then we get into the sensation of the fear. So it's a real trip. It's traveling to one's pain, body, emotions. Then we start to feel, my mind is going into quite a reaction here of the pain, and then I remember this event. So that's the whole experience.
Yes. And it's a wonderful experience. If you really, as you said, if you notice what the mind is reacting. So if we notice our judgment and let go of the judgment, that's when we really have a sense of, wow, what have I been creating and recreating in my body all my life? Now, I want to go back into the subject of Qi Gong, because obviously that's what we're here for today. And as much as what we just spoke about is all of these practices are really a wonderful way of getting in touch with our body. I'm curious, can anyone practice? I'm sure the listeners are as well. Can anyone practice Qi Gong? What is the age you start and until when?
There's different forms of Qi-Gong. Some forms are much more muscular, active, and that will be perfect for an age group around 20 till about 40 or 45. When we age more, the tendons and the muscle age, of course, and also the spine, and in the between the spine, the spaces get thinner. So it's more difficult to do some very, I would say, aerobic or demanding type of Qi-Gong. So we go through Qi-Gong that are slower. And what we do there is that we help the body do the circulation through slow movement. There are some Qi-Gong that can be dangerous. Qi-Gong that take